Go ahead.
This is a statement preceding the announcement of presidential results. Planning and preparations. The National Electoral Commission, NEC, has planned for the conduct of the 2012 elections over the past 2 years. The planning and preparation has been informed by lessons learned from previous elections, recommendations made by national and international observers after the 2007 national elections, and consultations throughout the process with electoral stakeholders, including political parties and civil society. This careful planning and preparation ensured that the 2012 elections met international standards of free, fair, transparent, multi-party elections. Let me highlight some of the key elements of the work of the Commission that preceded Election Day. Voter registration. Sierra Leone conducted its first ever biometric voter registration for these elections. This was an undertaking of huge magnitude, which ensured that Sierra Leone has a clean voter register where each registered Sierra Leonean has one vote. For the first time, registered voters have a durable voter ID card with colored picture that can be used in elections for years to come. The Commission has witnessed voters wearing the voter ID card with pride, and the Commission is proud to have enabled and witnessed such voter enthusiasm. Election Day. In addition to careful planning to manage the considerable logistical challenges of conducting 4 polls in one day, the Commission vigilantly planned Election Day to ensure a fair and transparent process. National and international observers and political party agents observed every action of the Election Day throughout the country. On Election Day, observers were present when the sealed, pre-packaged boxes with ballot papers and results forms were opened at the time of opening of the polling center. Observers were present in large numbers during the entire voting process. Observers were present at the end of the long day when the Commission counted the results in polling stations. Observers accompanied NEC officials when ballot boxes and results were transported from polling stations to various district offices. Results tallying. The Commission wants to assure you that safeguards were put in place at the regional tally centers to catch any discrepancy in the counting of votes at the polling station level and any discrepancies in the results forms that may have been entered after counting at the station level. This was done through a process of double-blind entry of the result forms. The tallying process was designed to identify any mathematical errors and possible cases of overvoting. This is because of the design of the result form, which did not allow for a number higher than 999 digits, and because the checks in the results tallying software had an average of 300 voters per polling station. The thorough process and safeguards in place is evidenced by the number of forms that were flagged for review, the number of quarantined cases, and the number of recounts that have taken place. Again, this all happened in full transparency and in the presence of national and international observers and political party agents. The quarantined cases. Let me first clarify the reference to 10% made by the Commission earlier this week. The 10% at that point in time included 3 categories. Firstly, all quarantined cases. Secondly, all result forms that had been received at regional tally centers but not yet processed. And thirdly, the result forms from distant locations that had not yet reached the tally centers at that stage. This issue of 10% has unfortunately been misrepresented by some media outlets as proof of possible electoral malpractices. NEC would like to inform the public that it should be seen as the opposite. The number of quarantined cases shows the thoroughness of the process and that the safeguards in place cause both human error and possible irregularities. Overvoting and recount. Cases of possible overvoting detected by the tallying system that could not be explained by the votes of the people under the supplementary list were authorized by the Commission to be recounted. Again, in the presence of the observers and party agents. Details per region are as follows. In the northern region, 5 polling station results were recounted. Bombali, 3 polling stations, Tonkolili, 1 polling station, and Potloko, 1 polling station. There was no overvoting in any polling station recounted. In the western area, 17 polling station results were recounted. 12 polling station results had no discrepancies. Results from 5 polling stations were annulled due to overvoting. These polling stations are based in polling center 14115, polling station 5, polling center 14018, polling station 2, polling center 13004, polling station 4, polling center 13039, polling station 8, and polling center 13112, polling station 2. There was overvoting in 5 out of the 17 polling stations, and these 5 stations have been annulled. East, 149 polling station results were flagged for recounting. Kailau, 6 polling stations were recounted, no discrepancies found. Kenema, 2 polling stations, no discrepancies were found. Kono, 141 polling stations. Of these, in 27 polling stations, no discrepancies were found. The only issue on the result form was that it was not stamped or signed. Based on this finding, the Commission, in consultation with political party and observers, decided that all cases that were not stamped or signed should not be recounted. There were 114 instances of such cases. This means they were put into the database. There was no overvoting in any polling station recounted in the eastern region. South, 2 polling station results were recounted. Moyamba, 1 polling station, and Pujang, 1 polling station. There was no overvoting in any polling station recounted in the southern region. However, further investigation will be conducted as to the large number of presiding officers who did not follow the established procedures. For example, like stamping and signing. We'll do further investigations on that. Impact of the recount on results and announcements. At this point, the number of registered voters in the polling stations where ballot boxes are to be recounted has no effect on the announcement of the presidential result. This point is important to emphasize. It is mathematically impossible for the number of ballots in the ballot boxes that needs to be recounted to impact the outcome of the presidential election. Even if one political party receives 100% of all the votes in all the ballot boxes to be entered now, it will not change the presidential result. Political party concerns. NEC took the time to consider concerns raised by the SLPP and the PMDC this week. NEC trusts that the work done has assured all voters in Sierra Leone that due process has been followed. I personally, as chairperson of the National Electoral Commission, want to assure all Sierra Leoneans who came out in large numbers across all parts of the country that the Commission has followed international standards and ensured a due process where every vote counts and every vote has been counted. Your voice has been heard. Declaration of all other elections, that is parliamentary and local council elections, will commence on Sunday, 25th November at 1 p.m. Now, we make the declaration. Declaration on the conduct of the results of presidential elections held 17th November 2012. In exercise of the powers conferred upon it by Sections 33 and Section 38, subsection 8 of the Constitution of Sierra Leone 1991, Act number 6 of 1991, and Section 70, subsection 1 of the Public Elections Act 2012, Act number 4 of 2012, the National Electoral Commission successfully conducted presidential, parliamentary, and local council elections for mayor, chairpersons, and councillors simultaneously in Sierra Leone on the 17th November 2012. Following the successful conduct of all the elections, the results of each election received from the district returning officers were tallied and computed at the regional results tally centers at Kenema, Makeni, Bo, and Freetown, the National Tally Center, as per Section 94 of the Public Elections Act 2012. The elections were generally peaceful. Both the polls and tallying processes were observed by various national and international missions, groups, other democratic institutions, embassies, observer groups, and the media, both print and electronic. The results. 9,269 polling station results were entered into the result database, representing 97.6% of all polling stations across the country, excluding those that were invalidated. The average national turnout is 87.3%. The total number of valid votes cast is 2,350,626. There are 108,898 invalid votes, representing 4.7% of total votes cast. Results. Koroma Ernest by APC polled 1,314,881 votes, representing 58.7% of valid votes cast. Keru Joshua Albert, CDP, 22,863 votes, representing 1% of valid votes cast. Kamara Jibrila, PDP, polled 8,273 votes, representing 0.4% of valid votes cast. Conte Kande Baba, PLP, polled 6,144 votes, representing 0.3% of valid votes cast. Magai Charles Francis, PMDC, 28,944 votes polled, representing 1.3% of valid votes cast. Collins Eldred, RUFP, 12,993 votes, representing 0.6% of valid votes cast. Dio Julius Mada, SLPP, 837,517 votes polled, representing 37.4% of valid votes cast. Bangura Mohammed, UDM, polled 5,069 votes, representing 0.2% of valid votes cast. Fuller James Obai, UNPP, polled 5,044 votes, representing 0.2% of valid votes cast. In exercise of the powers conferred on the returning officer by Section 52 of the Public Elections Act 2012, I hereby certify that 1,314,881 valid votes were cast in favor of the candidate Ernest by Koroma at that election. And Ernest by Koroma therefore received 58.7% of valid votes cast in the election. Ernest by Koroma has been duly elected President of the Republic of Sierra Leone at the presidential election of 2012. Any citizen of Sierra Leone may challenge the validity of the election of the president by petition to the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone within 7 days after the declaration of presidential results. Signed, Dr. Christiana Thorpe, Chief Electoral Commissioner, Chairperson, and National Returning Officer, on this 23rd day of November 2012. Thank you for your kind attention.